Hello, everyone. Welcome to Feedstuffs 365. A couple of weeks ago, during IFT First in downtown Chicago, we caught up with Brad Schwan, Vice President of Marketing for ADM. So welcome, Brad. Thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you, Sarah. Great to see you again.
So it wasn't IFT First. It was a great show. I mean, it seemed like every booth had something new and exciting to talk about, including ADM.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was a terrific show, and it was fun to have people back together and in person again. And it was really just a terrific show overall. Really fun to be there.
Did you happen to find a new favorite food or beverage at all?
Oh wow! I'll tell you, I tried lots of stuff, and I can't even single out something that I thought was the best. I love the environment, and I love the chance to be able to just engage with people and talk about the industry that we're all very excited about, and it was a lot of fun.
Right, you can just eat your way from booth to booth. So let's get started. In the general sense, Brad, what are some of the top consumer trends that you're seeing out there today? What's really kind of driving innovation in the food industry?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I'll give you a few things that we're seeing and tracking really closely at ADM as we look at the consumer. And the first thing that we're seeing a lot of is the focus on health and wellness among consumers, and health and wellness has been something that's been a topic for years, of course. But I feel like we are seeing even more of a focus actually among consumers on health and wellness. And what's interesting that we're seeing is that consumers are defining health and wellness in a broader way now. And so health and wellness is not just the health of our body, but it's also mental and emotional health. And we're seeing a lot of consumer interest in those spaces. And even in personalization is another place where consumers are increasingly believing that, hey, what's right for me and what's healthy for me is actually not necessarily the same as it is for you or for somebody else. And so there's a real need for and desire for personalization. And we're seeing that show up in a couple of places. Microbiome is one of them. So health and wellness is one of the ones that I'd offer up, Sarah. And I'll throw you a couple, and then we can talk wherever you'd like to go. A couple others that we're seeing. Sustainability is another one, and sustainability is something that has been consistent for the consumer over time. But sustainability in a broader sense actually is becoming a bigger deal for consumers, and so sustainability, not just an environmental sustainability, though that's critical and in a big focus for lots of us in the industry, and certainly a huge focus for us at ADM. But it's actually broader than that, and it's in its social sustainability, and it's things like farmer welfare, and those aspects of sustainability is that's another trend that we're certainly seeing.
So when it comes to new products and innovation, what tends to be the greatest driver in deciding what should be explored? And for that matter, what products should be brought to the marketplace? Is it something where consumers are really involved in that? Do you bring in your farmer supply partners? Who all is active in that equation?
Yeah, for us at ADM, it starts with the consumer, and we spend a lot of time and energy talking to consumers in a wide variety of different ways. Sometimes it's one-on-one conversations with consumers. Sometimes it's big quantitative studies. But we want to really be in touch with the consumer so that we know where the puck is headed, and we can act on it. And what that helps us do is as ADM, it helps us shape our portfolio. So our portfolio is lining up with where the consumer is headed. So microbiome is an example of that for us, where we see the consumer headed in this direction, and we've made choices as a company to invest in that space, in the microbiome space, so that we can be there as the consumer increasingly gets there. And the other thing that it lets us do, which is just as important, is it lets us serve our customers as ADM better. Because if we know where the consumer is headed, we can engage with our customers in a way to say, hey, this is what we're seeing in the consumer data. This is where we think the consumer is headed. And here's what the implications to your business maybe. And so it allows us to have really terrific conversations with our customers. That's a long-winded way of saying, Sarah, it really starts with the consumer. And
So,
to the other part of your question on like where else can innovation come from? Innovation can come from anywhere, and we are ears wide open for innovation from a variety of our partners, from our farmer partners to our customers, to our consumers, to our ADM colleagues, to our chefs. There are so many great ideas, and we're all ears.
so how many of those products, I mean, you must come up with all kinds of ideas. How many of those products kind of make it through the whole pipeline? I mean, kind of just give us the general sense in terms of, okay, we've heard from this consumer group that they want this. And then you have to try and develop this. And then you're probably going to a lot of different test groups, and you're probably going to IFT first and getting feedback as well in terms of, is this going to sell? Is there a market for this? How many of those products make it through? What does that look like?
Yeah, so innovation is really it's a very iterative process, and it's something that when you're doing it well, you are learning along the way, and it's a constant cycle of learning. And you start with the consumer and say, okay, where do we think the consumer is, and what's interesting to the consumer, and that's a great grounding. And if you've got that piece, you've got a really good and robust place to start, a good foundation. But the way you execute it with the consumer, there's a whole bunch of different ways to do that. And so it is very iterative. And what we try to do as we work internally, as we partner with our customers, is to really create these iterative learning loops so that we can get, the one way you talk about is, get a little smarter every day. We want to get a little smarter every day and refine these propositions a little bit more until ultimately we have something that will be a winner in the marketplace and a winner for the consumer.
And you also probably have to look back. I believe we talked a little bit about this in Chicago when we met. You have to look back at, can we supply the need, right? From a farmer standpoint, is there the product there, the ingredients there that we can do to ramp up this product?
That's all part of it. That's all part of it. Making sure that the supply chain is robust and reliable is part of it. At ADM we have a vertically integrated supply chain in a lot of parts of our business, which is very helpful in that regard. But absolutely, as you're developing products, you have to think about it in a very holistic way, and exactly what you just described, Sarah, and making sure you've got the supply chain square. That's certainly a piece of it.
Now at IFT when we met, you put a bunch of new products in front of me, and we kind of walked through those, and I got to taste a couple of them. So talk to me about some of the things that you were showcasing there that ADM had brought to the show to get some feedback and to introduce to the market.
Absolutely, yeah. That was a fun part. It's always so great when you get to sit down and try food together. But yeah, I'll share a couple of things that we talked about, Sarah, and actually, to where we were going before about the consumer trends. I'll tie into the consumer trends, so we see kind of what's really behind these things. And so the first thing that I'll talk about is a sablé cookie that we showed, and this. We had a blood orange flavored sablé cookie, and what this one really brought to life is the sustainability trend. And so this cookie was special for a couple of reasons. It tasted really good for one thing, but as we think about the sustainability trend coming to life, this cookie had the environmental sustainability piece covered because it was actually using low carbon flour. And we achieved low carbon flour both in terms of the way we partner with our farmer partners to have acreage that is farmed using regenerative ag practices, which reduces the carbon impact of the product. And our North America flour milling operations are actually carbon neutral. And so you put those two things together and you actually get a low carbon flour. So that's the first aspect of sustainability that particular concept was bringing to life. And the second one is, like what I mentioned before, on the social sustainability side, it had our sustainable vanilla that was made using vanilla from our partnership with farmers in Madagascar. And it's a really special partnership that really does improve the lives and the working conditions of the farmers in this critical region for vanilla production. And so that product, in addition to tasting really good, brought together a couple of key pieces of sustainability that we're bringing to the market at ADM.
So you find consumers are really looking for that when they go to the store. I mean, labeling has to be a big part of that too, then, right?
Yeah, we do. Consumers are really increasingly attuned to sustainability, to traceability, to things like farmer welfare, and that's a big piece of what we want to be able to bring and offer to our customers, so they can bring those products to consumers. So yeah, that one was against sustainability. And I don't know if you remember the cookie, Sarah. I think you enjoyed it. I wish you could be tasting it again right now. It was very good. So that was one. I'm happy to talk about a couple of the other ones if you like.
Please do.
Okay. So the next trend, the health and wellness trend, is the next one that I'll talk about. And we talked about the microbiome, and we actually showed a product at IFT. It was a tomato masala snack cluster, and what this had in it was a biotic combination that included prebiotics, probiotics, and postbiotics all in one snack. And so it really is exciting to us because it demonstrates that you can bring multiple different ways to address the human microbiome into one snack. And at ADM, this is a place where we've been investing very substantially, and both in terms of continuing to develop our internal capabilities, as well as a recent acquisition we made of a company called Deerland that has a terrific probiotic line. And one of the probiotics that's used in this cluster actually is called DE111. And it is a probiotic that is able to withstand harsher processing conditions. And so it allows you to use it in more different end consumer products. And so that's a really exciting aspect of that. So health and wellness in this case expressed in a microbiome focused offering.
Yeah. So Brad, I don't mean this in a negative way, but you're talking about a lot of kind of, I don't want to say complex things, but a lot of things that consumers may or may not understand. How do you go about making sure they understand some of these concepts? How do you go about educating them?
Yeah, that's a great question, Sarah. So we keep a very close eye on the consumer in lots of different spaces, microbiome certainly among them, and we are asking consumers questions about how familiar they are with the microbiome, how familiar they are with biotics, and what we're seeing is actually an increasing rate of understanding among consumers. We've got more than half of consumers who believe that the microbiome, their gut microbiome, has impacts on their overall health as we look at that globally. And so when we look at data like that, we're really we find it to be quite compelling. The consumer is really up to speed and attuned to this. I think that what we're going to see is that over time, from an education standpoint, the consumer is going to become more and more educated on some of the specifics, but it really is the kind of thing where the consumer is attuned and understands the potential benefits there, and is very open to solutions in the microbiome space.
And I think you have some plant-based product too, or products that you're working on, as did many people with that at IFT first. So talk to us about that and some of the trends that you see shaping up in that market.
Yeah, so let me start with the trends. So we are super focused on the growth that we're seeing in the consumer from a plant-based eating standpoint. And as we look at the consumer around the world, what we look at is what do consumers claim about the way that they are eating? And so you've got vegans and vegetarians, and around the world, vegans and vegetarians together might be about 8% or so of consumers, which is a meaningful number. But the group that we're really super interested in is a group called flexitarians, and these are consumers that are trying to eat more plant-based diets and incorporate that into their diets. They still eat meat and they still eat other animal products, but they're trying to incorporate more plant-based products. And so when you take the vegetarians, the vegans, and this group of flexitarians and add them together, you actually end up with more than half of global consumers. And so when we see that, we say, wow, that's critical mass. That is a lot of people. That's a lot of people where we can really help them meet those objectives that they have for their eating. And so we showed an offering that is a vegan plant-based chorizo nacho. And what was cool about this one is that every aspect of it was vegan. So it started with the black bean chip, and then on top of the black bean chip was a nacho sauce that was made with navy bean powder and our pea protein. And then there was also a plant-based chorizo crumble that was made with one of our textured soy protein products. And so when you eat this, it was just remarkable because it's just such a delicious nacho with all of the textures and flavors that you expect, all represented in this one concept. So it's a way for us as ADM to be able to represent some of the ways we bring total solutions together that can really be pretty. That one had a lot of wow. That one got a lot of buzz as people tasted that one. That's for sure.
So it's really about not necessarily consumers moving away from animal proteins, but looking to have variety in their diets and just looking for other options. And sounds like it's a pretty big marketplace when you really get down to it. If you're talking about 50% or more that are kind of testing those markets and looking for variety in their diets.
That's exactly right. And consumers are looking for that variety in their diets. And the meat industry isn't going anywhere. And it's something, we've got a very robust animal nutrition business here at ADM, and we serve that market as well. So you use the word choice, and that's really a big part of what we're trying to enable here. We want to enable consumers to have the choice to be able to eat what it is that they like, and really importantly, be delighted with it. Food is a wonderful, it's such a fun industry to get to work in. It's a wonderful thing. It's so experiential. We want to create offerings that allow consumers to make those choices and be delighted with the outcome.
And you also had a product, actually, it can play into pet food a little bit too, right? Your ADM's Pearl Edge line, it's a white color solution. Just give me a little high overview on that.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a new offering from ADM. It's called Pearl Edge, and what Pearl Edge is a white color that can be in many applications used in place of titanium dioxide. And so there's demand for our customers and from consumers for cleaner labels, and if you can in certain applications use Pearl Edge to replace titanium dioxide, it's something that the market is really pretty excited about. We're pretty excited about it too.
Very good. Well, thank you, Brad. Brad Schwan, Vice President of Marketing for ADM. Thank you so much for your time and insight today and sharing everything that went on with IFT First in the ADM booth. So nice to see you again. And thank you all for joining us as well. We appreciate you tuning in. A note to join us tomorrow as we talk sustainability in the food and ag industries with Andrew Utterback, Senior Manager of Sustainability with Ingredion Ingredients. Until then, for Feedstuffs 365, I'm Sarah Muirhead.